In my world, everything's a hammer. Welcome back, folks, to our turbo lawnmower build here. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Today we thiefed a bunch of the piping from the 8 turbo Mustang build. It's 2-inch piping, so we can go from our turbo all the way up to our new intake. Now, considering all the intricate piping that we've done on the 8 turbo build, we should probably be able to build this one pretty easy. I'm just gonna cut up some of the nice tight radius bends here to fit like this, and get up and over this piece right here, and then under the exhaust and over. It should be pretty straightforward, guys. So this one's gonna go down here off the turbo straight down. This one's gonna swoop it back up. Probably not the most efficient thing, but we have to keep in mind that we want to keep it between these so it'll stay inside of our front covering here. Front little hookbird pipe made, but before I get too ahead of myself, I should probably adapt our 2-inch and 3/4 pipes to a 2-inch pipe, because I forgot to do that. I forgot to do that. So y'all remember this pipe we made last video, we actually have to convert this to a 2-inch pipe because it's actually 1 and 3/4, whatever this is. I'd like to put a 90 on the end of it. There you go, perfect, just like that, and just fill it. But for real, no, you just kind of mark it where it is there, and then you cut it, and then it should fit right where it is. It is what it is. I mean, y'all thought I was joking, but for serious, this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm literally just gonna put this pipe inside this pipe. Maybe I should get a straight piece. And then just measure this. And then I cut on that line. That was super simple. Let's just do that. Where? Well, that ain't a bad start. We got that 90 here, and then if we go over here, we got that 90 there. So it's just to go from here to here now. That's pretty straightforward if you ask me. You all thought it was gonna be a lot harder than that, and I'm here to tell you it's not that hard. Get yourself a welder, a bandsaw, and some aluminum pipe, and you can make your own little thingamajigger. Certified. Now this just seems like the perfect time to say shout out to you guys for help supporting the channel. As you guys know, I'm part owner of Black Sheep Industries, and we do sell turbos and wastegates and blow-off valves and all kinds of turbo accessory stuff. If you want to check us out, it's blacksheepindustries.ca. Boosted Lifestyle gets you 10% off at checkout. And with all the orders coming in, it's so awesome and so much fun to see this thing grow from what it was and to what it's going to be. And it just gives us some more freedom to do weird stuff that we want to do, like build weird carts like this. So thank you for checking us out, blacksheepindustries.ca. Let's get back to building. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but if we take this little piece and this little piece, we end up somewhere around there. And then, so it's probably gonna take like another 45 and a 45 to get into that piece, the way I'm looking at it. Here's our little zigzaggy pipey here thingamajig, and it should just fit right into place. Yep. Oh. Okay, I need 2 hands. Something like this. It'll go like up and over and down and under, and then a little quick connector right there. So it'll just be a coupler on the turbo, one right there and one right there. I say not to use 3 couplers, but I have to because there's so many like sharp 90-degree bends. That if I were to weld this piece up completely, I wouldn't be able to get like this piece in very easily at all. This pipe just welded it. That's probably 457,000 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you're Canadian, 322.54 clitorises, whatever that is in temperatures. And I'm gonna cool it down the way any Canadian would. Cool. Now, if we put a coupler on the one side, down here, inside of this one, like, yay, we have intercooler piping. Not intercooler piping, we have piping, there's no intercooler. And because we're only gonna be running low boost on this thing, I chose to opt out of the intercooler just because we didn't have a lot of space. But if it comes down to wanting to make more power with this thing, I will definitely install an intercooler. We actually have a small core here that I could have cut up and built some end tanks on, but I opted not to go for the intercooler because I know this thing's only gonna have like 4 or 5 pounds of boost. Now that our turbo system is basically done, we've got from the engine to the turbo into the intake, and the intake into the engine, we need to build some sort of oiling system. This thing came from the factory with some sort of dry sump system where the oil tank was actually external to the engine, and then there was lines going to this other tank that sat like in the front by the radiator. We're going to utilize that as an oil return for the turbo, and hopefully build a tank somewhere in this area right here so the turbo can drain down into the tank. It can suck from the tank into the bottom of the engine here. So the one that goes from the bottom of the engine right here came from the tank, and I don't know if that has to be gravity or not. I'm gonna build this tank, and if it has to be a gravity into the bottom of the engine, let me know. Probably gonna end up using this big sheet of aluminum here. I believe this is like 16 gauge aluminum. I've never welded sheet aluminum this thin, like as a tank of some sort. But I think this is all we have. I think we have one more piece of big stuff behind here, but that's gonna be it. This was actually the original tank here. As you can see, it sat kind of like this in the front, and then it drained from the bottom here into the bottom of the engine, and then fed back into the top, and then a vent right there, and your fill on the side. We're actually gonna use a circular saw with a cheap metal blade in it to cut this. Our top strip is actually 2.5 inches wide. There's also other pieces that are 2.5 inches wide. So I'm just gonna cut a big long strip out of the top so I can make like the top and the side pieces, and then I'll make the bottom after. Now, if I did it correctly, all these things should stack into a thing. I did taper one end so the oil drain to the engine sits a little bit lower. That's the top, that's the bottom, the top, whatever these pieces are, and they should Lego block together, technically. Let's be honest though, sometimes I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna time lapse this and see if it'll put together. Alright, here's what we put together. I guess I measured this piece a little bit wrong because it's a little bit too wide for what we're doing here. Gotta be shaved down a little bit. But that's the top, this is the bottom, so it's gonna sit like this in the cart. The oil to the engine's gonna come from probably like the middle right here somewhere. But essentially it's gonna fit down here somewhere. When I did measure it, I measured the top plate and I didn't add the side width on, so it's actually really, really tight. You might just have to fit, I don't know. I might have to remake that. There you go. You can see that it's tilted back a little bit, so right here we can put an oil return bung of some sort. And then it's actually tilted back a little bit here, so the engine oil is going to want to go to the back, and then the feed for the engine is going to be in the back part of this piece. I didn't want to completely box it in anyways yet, because I want to drill my hole somewhere. And in order to do that, I want to be able to clean out what we did there. So we need to drill these holes before we weld the top plate in so we can clean out all the debris on the inside. But before I drill these holes, I think I want to weld some of these seams right here. That way when we drill the holes near the edges, it's not going to reduce the amount of material that we have to weld to and might blow that out. So I'm going to go ahead and weld up a bunch of these edges first, and then I'll drill my holes after. Definitely not the best thing I've ever built. It's definitely a little bit of a learning curve. Never doing like 16 gauge sheet metal before. I accidentally used a little bit too much heat in a couple places, and you can see like, whoop, it dipped. And that's probably just poor setup on my part, because I had to use the throttle a lot on the welder, which essentially just lowers your amps from whatever you have it set at to a percentage of it. If I would have just lowered the main number, I think it would have been better off, because I could have went more steady throttle on it, but whatever. Drill that, and that. We don't have to put fittings in it right now, but we just have to get the metal shavings out of the way. In my world, everything's a hammer. Hammer, hammer, hammer. And then right here. I don't currently have any welding bung holes, but we'll get some ordered. We probably need some, like, I don't even know what size it is, because you guys told me it was 6 SAE instead of 6 JSE. So I have to find something that goes from that to 6. It's complicated. We only need to cut like that much off it, so I'm just gonna try and do it on this thingy. Worked out pretty good. And just like yay, we have a tank. These are our 3 return hole, well, return from engine, return from turbo, vent, to engine, and then when we, hopefully it's not too hot to handle. I missed a pinhole. I missed a pinhole right there. And there you have it. There's our oil tank. Sits down there. Let's actually put our charge piping on, and you can see that it'll swoop like right in front of this thing. That's with the charge piping on, not getting in the way of anything. And then we'll put the front clip on to see if that affects anything as well. I really do love this front clip. What stupid engineer designed this? It was me. I did it. Oh, our tank fell out. I didn't really build brackets for you, did I? I can't really build brackets for it until I weld some bungs in it. I mean, if it's really necessary, we can build a nice little lip on the bottom of this too and extend it down further. Even further. Just to cover up some stuff. I'm not mad at it though. Of course I'm not mad at it. Look at it. We turned essentially what was a junk ass lawnmower next to my house into whatever this is now, using parts that we had laying around. We had this Raptor engine, we had that rear axle, and of course, knowing us, we had to turbocharge it. So, and unfortunately, that's where the extra time is coming in. If I would have just went to Princess Auto, bought a running like 420 twin cylinder engine or whatever they sell at Princess Auto, and put that in there, I could have this thing running a long time ago. But we went above and beyond, trying to put a turbo on it because it'd be way cool to put a turbo on it. How many YouTubers you know out there building stuff like this with turbos on it? There's probably a couple, but not a lot, okay? So if you appreciate me and you appreciate this build, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the little bell notification thing so you know the next time I upload one of these videos. Peace easy, get that V.